Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Joliet City Council meeting for April the 18th, 2023. I finally got the date right today. So tonight our invocation will be delivered by Reverend William G. Dewan, Cathedral of St. Raymond, 604 Rayner Avenue. After that, he will lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance. Reverend, thank you.
Dear wise and loving Father, thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our calling, for sustenance, and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work, for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thank you for loving us from among your boundless and gracious nature. In the scriptures, you have said that citizens ought to respect governing authorities, since you have established those very authorities to promote peace, order, and justice. Therefore, tonight we pray for our mayor, for various levels of city officials, and in particular for this assembled council. We're asking that you graciously grant them wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, and a keen thirst for justice and righteousness, confidence in what they are doing, that are what is good and is fitting, the ability to work together in harmony, even when there is honest disagreement, personal peace in their lives and joy in their task. So we pray for the agenda set before them. Give them the assistance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our city of Joliet. In your most blessed name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Father.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odeker.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero. Councilman Hugg.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a proclamation declaring the month of May 2023 as Motorcycle Awareness Month.
Thank you. It's funny how I was asked to read this. I just bought my first motorcycle last year. And my wife thinks I'm nuts. 1 year old, I bought a Harley. It's the three-wheel though, the trike line. Little safe.
You mean a big wheel, Terry?
They got that big wheel.
I didn't want to do it in my suit. But anyway, thank you all so much for what you do. Proclamation. Whereas safety is the highest priority for the highways and streets of our city and state, and the great state of Illinois is proud to be a national leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness. Whereas motorcycles are a primary, common, and economical means of transportation that reduces fuel consumption and road wear, and contributes in a significant way to the relief of traffic and parking congestion. Whereas it is especially meaningful that the citizens of our city and state be aware of motorcycles on the roadways and recognize the importance of motorcycle safety. Whereas the members of ABATE of Illinois Incorporated, ABATE is a brotherhood aimed toward education. Continually promote motorcycle safety, education, and awareness in high school drivers education programs, and to the public in our city and state, presenting motorcycle awareness programs to over 120,000 participants in Illinois over the past 8 years. Whereas all motorcyclists should join ABATE of Illinois Incorporated in actively promoting the safe operation of motorcycles as well as promoting motorcycle safety, education awareness, and respect of the citizens of our city and state. Whereas the motorcyclists of Illinois have contributed extensive volunteerism and money to national and community charitable organizations. Whereas during the month of May, all roadway users should unite in the safe sharing of roadways within the city of Joliet and throughout the great state of Illinois. Now therefore, I, Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the city of Joliet, Illinois, on behalf of the Joliet City Council in recognition of 36 years of ABATE of Illinois Incorporated and over 352,318 registered motorcyclists statewide, and in recognition of the continued role Illinois serves as a leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2023 as Motorcycle Awareness Month and urge all motorists to join to improve safety and awareness of our roadway. Signed by Mayor Robert Odekirk.
I want to thank you guys. I had a flat tire, so I just ran across the street. So I appreciate to see a guy like me running across the street. It's not easy. So I do appreciate this. This is our 20th anniversary here in Joliet of having a Will County ABATE chapter. And you guys have done this for us several times. I really appreciate it. With COVID and such, we kind of had a few years where we weren't doing this, but once again, really appreciate it on behalf of all of motorcyclists in Joliet. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want a picture?
Yeah, do you guys want a picture with the council? Sure. Okay. Sure, come on up. How you doing? Good. Glad you made it.
I know.
You always blame it on the bridges. Come on over here.
Get in there. No pressure.
Thank you. Have a good one. Thanks.
What are you driving? I don't know you. Oh my God. Yeah, girl, you go. Ain't got enough doors on it for me.
Next is a proclamation declaring April 28, 2023 as Arbor Day.
Okay. Everybody there?
Oh, yeah.
I miss Willie in her tree outfit. We're all good? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Probably hear you without the
we check
microphone.
it. Can the cameras pick up the pictures at all?
Yeah, they're gonna shine on
Are
this.
they? Okay.
Ready?
Sorry.
Okay. Proclamation, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special date be set aside for the planting of trees. Whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Trees can clean the air, produce oxygen, provide habitat for wildlife, reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, and moderate the temperature. Trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. Whereas Joliet has been recognized as a Tree City USA for the 32nd consecutive year. Wow.
by the National Arbor Day Foundation, and Joliet desires to continue its tree planting ways. Now therefore I, Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, do hereby proclaim April 28, 2023 as Arbor Day in the City of Joliet. And I urge all citizens to support the efforts to care for our trees and woodlands and to support our community's forestry program. And it's signed Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet. Okay, I'm Rita Renwick, Chair of the City of Joliet's Tree Advisory Board. This is Mary Schoenheider, a board member, and I think Betsy Satcher is here also. She's on our tree board.
She's behind you.
Oh, now you come up. She probably didn't know I was gonna call her up, but anyway, we're here to celebrate the leaves coming out on our trees and the flowers, the flowering crab trees and red buds, and it's a time to celebrate. And we are also celebrating the fact that our mayor, city council, through the years have supported our urban forest. 32 years as a Tree City USA is quite an achievement. And this year we also received a growth award for the 8th year because we got an urban forestry management plan, which you can even look at on the website under the forestry heading. So we are going to celebrate at a school, which we choose every year, and Union School is going to be our site for the actual celebration, which is next Wednesday. And we had a poster contest. So we have students here who were the poster contest winners, and we're gonna call them up. So, all right. Isabella Castaneda was first place. Yareli Allende was second place. Olivia Loster, third place. And we have Annabelle George, who was honorable mention. We also had two more students, Ashley Shomig and Maria Jacobo, who also were honorable mention but couldn't make it tonight. So again, thank you for supporting the urban forest. 80% of our trees in most cities are in people's private yards. So that's something that we need to think about and encourage our residents to plant trees also. The city can plant in the parkways, but those trees do very well in your backyard or your front yard and enhance the city for everyone. Okay, we're done, I think, and thank you so much.
Thank you, congratulations. Do you guys want a picture with the council? Okay. Great work, guys. Are we good?
If we turn kind of sideways, we can get closer.
I don't know, Betty, better, this angle might be better.
Yeah,
For some of us.
You're right. For me too, Bob.
Thank you.
One more.
Hold on.
Hold on one second.
Great job, guys.
Great, congratulations.
Thanks, Rita.
Thanks, Mary. How many times have we done that? Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First is Jody Pertucci, Village of Elwood, Council Memo 183-23.
Hi, good evening, Council. I wanted to address you tonight, but before I did, I wanted to say thank you to the members here. I know some of you will be leaving soon, and I just want to thank you for your public service. It's not always easy being an elected official. I truly understand that. It's rarely ever boring. It can be exciting, and sometimes it is exhausting, but just want to say thank you for giving up your time. For always being around, and thank you for listening. And Betty, I just wanted to thank you. You really helped me when I started out as a village trustee, and I looked to you to partner or to kind of guide me a little bit. And I just want to say thank you to you and everyone else before you leave office. So thank you. What I'd like to do tonight is, I feel like I'm saying, like, here we go again. But I don't want to say that. What I would like to talk about is, on the agenda tonight, something that concerns me is the 2 parcels of land that are up in Manhattan. And I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I certainly have my opinions about it. Some of your constituents have very strong opinions about it. But it wasn't a part of the original North Point proposal. I do know that. What I'm asking is, what is our plan for that? What is our plan for the growth, which I call in South Joliet, and our bordering communities for Elwood and Manhattan? I do represent Elwood. I know how the people in my district feel with all the truck traffic. I'm not going to even get into the infrastructure and what we have. What I'm asking you is, I understand we're putting it forth tonight. I'm asking that maybe that we could postpone the vote or table it to another meeting so people can have time to really talk to you about it and let you know how people are feeling. I know sometimes we try to push things through or do that, but people have concerns on that. And this property annexation will make this project contiguous, and that has great concerns for us. So I'm just asking the council, I can't change your minds with anything I say, but I'm just wondering if there's any way that we could maybe table it for a future date, find out what the overall grand plan is going to be, and then maybe work with the neighboring communities. We're more than willing to sit down with anyone and talk through expansion and growth, but get us working together a little bit more than maybe we have been in the past. I'm committed to doing that. I know our fellow Manhattan is also committed to doing that, so we would love that opportunity. I'm just gonna leave you with words I learned from my father at a really young age. And this is for people kind of leaving a job. I left my job after 38 years last year with Cigna. And leaving a position or anything, my dad always said, when you're working for people, you're working with people, make sure that when you leave or give your notice, that people are just wishing that you would stay a little longer to help them out, versus holding the door to see you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle Peterson, Council Memo 183-23.
Good evening. I'm speaking on item 183-23, Michelle Peterson. The land parcels that are currently under consideration today for annexation must be continuous with land already legally annexed into the city of Joliet. However, the parcels which could provide that needed continuity are themselves questionable when it comes to their own legality. The parcels are part of a previous annexation and rezoning, which is currently being challenged by 2 lawsuits actively moving through the court system right now. Those suits specifically challenge the legality of both the processes involved in the annexation and rezoning approvals and the final votes providing the final approvals. Therefore, because of this, there should be no consideration of any request for annexation of the subject property in the agenda 183-23 or any other North Point property until the lawsuits are fully litigated and a decision is made by the courts. No vote should be taken on that today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry Crawford, Council Memo 181-23.
Larry.
I'm kind of like the lady that went before, just want to say, thank you for your serve. You know, some of you guys are going to be moving on voluntarily and others are moving on involuntarily as it may be. But I want to echo what has been said in terms of how faithfully you've served, Mayor. Ms. Gavin, Mr. Morris, I just appreciate your serve. It's challenging. You know, it has its ups and downs, but I think the spirit in which you've taken that task on over the years has been the right spirit, and I trust that you've had the best interests of the city in mind. I'm here for that same agenda item 181-23, and this seems to be a repeat of what I was standing here prior, I guess a couple of meetings or so ago, when we were talking about blasting in the rock quarry, as it might be. And I'm feeling the same kind of way in terms of what's happening in terms of special use permits or for a salvage yard with the purpose of, however that reads on there, and you've seen that. I'm assuming again that not enough action has been taken in regard to how we want to address that. And I'm just really surprised that it's even on the agenda today. I'm also surprised that with the blasting thing that was supposed to be postponed until today is not on the agenda. And I'm not quite sure how you disposed of that. But that's just another thing. When you're looking at this thing, I don't think money is the most important concern in terms of how much money it could end up in the city's coffers, because I think there's some other factors, Mr. Caporelli, that needs to be weighed other than just fiscal things. When you start talking about health and environmental things as it relates to what is generated out of these shredding, recycling projects, historically, not just in Joliet, but in Cook County and Chicago regions, they've not wanted to have those kinds of facilities because of the environmental concerns that those people living in those areas have. And in a proximity that reaches as far as 30 miles from the actual site of where the shreddings and all those things are going on. So the issues relating to that, I'm not quite sure that you guys have even had enough time to examine even the pros and the cons. And I hope that you would take enough time, Ms. Reardon, to look at both sides of the issue as it may be. And have you really examined the yays and the nays on the matter that appears to have only been received less than a week or so ago? I find it extremely difficult to think that you've really had the time to examine both sides of it. Historically, when somebody wants an approval, they present you with the position that would cause you to say yes. I'm hoping that you'll take the time to listen to a position that firmly says no. Consider tabling this matter, like the lady before me said, until the new council is seated and sworn in. I don't know what the sense of urgency you seem to have about approving a recycling, shredding place, that it has to be done tonight. But I hope that you would allow some more consideration so that all interested parties could tell you either yes or no, and then make, I think, a more informed decision that I think you're in position to make tonight. I just don't think you're ready to do that. She ended in a cool way. I'm going to try my best to match that. Building a city or building a legacy. If you build a city, it will create a legacy.
Thank you.
Ron Adamski, Council Memo 183-23.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. My name is Ron Adamski. I'm a Village of Manhattan trustee. I was asked to read a statement from the Village of Manhattan on behalf of Mayor Adrianson.
Well, if you have a restatement, you can give that to the clerk and she'll put it in the minutes. You can speak, but if you have a written item, that'd be the proper protocol.
Well, I'm asking to be able to read the statement if you don't mind.
I guess.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
It's repetitive because it's gonna go on the record if you give it to the clerk.
Thank you, appreciate it. Mayor, Board, on behalf of the Village of Manhattan, please accept this letter as my written testimony regarding the proposed annexation of additional property for the North Point Development Project. That is on your council agenda tonight. We are asking Joliet City Council to delay action on this item until further discussion can occur and more of the facts can be reviewed to assess its impact on the residents of Manhattan. As you know, our community has significant concerns regarding the negative impacts of the project will cause on Manhattan's side of the Joliet-Manhattan boundary line established by prior agreement, especially because the infrastructure does not exist to support this project. We are all aware of Will County's place as the home of the largest inland port in North America. We believe Joliet and Manhattan can find common ground in the idea that more infrastructure is needed in our region. Better planning on the location of these large facilities would also reduce many of our concerns. Future developments can have a positive impact and create jobs for local residents when they are appropriately planned for and cooperation occurs between the public sector partners. Unfortunately, that has not been the history of the advancement of the North Point project, which this annexation seeks to support. The growing opposition to these poorly placed industrial developments is reflected in the changing public opinion. In addition, Will County government partnered with the city of Joliet and many other local governments to create a community-friendly freight mobility plan in 2017 that called for partnership that would support future developments, but also balance this growth with preserving the quality of life for local residents. The study was recognized for its forward-thinking approach, yet many of its principles are continually violated by the actions taken in support of this project. The lack of productive and collaborative partnership on this project is what is wrong with this entire process. We respectfully request that you table the vote on annexation so we can evaluate the likelihood that the project will cause substantial impacts on the Manhattan side of the boundary. I just have a quick, someone's phone's up here. I just have a quick statement for myself since I have some time left over, and that's signed by the mayor, and I'll turn that in. Personal statement for clarity, I'm speaking the following statement as a citizen and co-founder of Stop No Point. It's my personal statement. You'll continue, many passionate speakers, research, knowledgeable statements from so many groups and citizens. We really need to listen to them. And I would thank all those speakers and groups that have followed this and stood up for this. Tonight, this issue tonight is the ordinance with the 2 annexation properties. I want to go on record that I have concerns and questions on the impact this project will have on the future of Will County. I think we're already feeling it. Certainly, there's concerns regarding the vote on annexation during elections, voting on annexations during elections, and especially as the board changes in early May. One of those concerns is part of the agreement is the amended annexation agreement to Section 5 additional parcels. The procedures and language, probably don't have time, but procedural language should be looked at.
Thank you.
In reference to the memo that the city council or the manager memo
We're good.
came
Thank
out
you,
that
sir. Good to
tied
see you,
this in
please.
as contiguity.
Thank
So
you.
I would ask, please, I
Tony,
would ask that you
We have a
please
full,
table it.
excuse me, we have a full meeting.
I understand, thank you.
You can't speak longer than everybody else. It's not fair. So
Thank you.
please
Thank
respect the rules we have here in Joliet.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Damon Zunich, Council Memo 181-23.
Good evening, councilman and mayor. I was totally surprised to see what the city has planned for the near west side with this salvage yard, or what I would really refer to it as a junkyard. Over 30 years ago, Joliet started planning the Broadway Greenway. They spent millions on it. A lot of planning went into it. They didn't finish it. They wanted to extend it from essentially Ruby Street all the way over to Theodore Street. Since that time, you've seen the city of Crest Hill, Romeoville, do an exemplary job of that roadway, what we call Broadway Street, other people call it Joliet Road, some call Route 53. When you think about that area and what has happened as of late, we hear often a lot of talk about the first 100 miles of Route 66. And Joliet is part of that. And it's become a tourist attraction. In some of my businesses that I own, I see a lot of people from out of town loving the history of Joliet. I also see the Heritage Corridor really making an effort to promote that greenway, that corridor coming into Joliet. You know, we've seen Joliet try to revitalize that area. I really believe, you know, this is such short notice that a thorough study, and I want to echo the prior gentleman's thoughts, that we need to take our time, look at this in a much, much more detail before we approve a salvage yard on that property. And when you think about that property, we also think about the what's going on the east side right there. I think it's the same owner that wants to develop the east side into a eco campus. You think of that area. So you have two corridors coming into Joliet from the north. On one side, we're going to see a battery recycling facility. On the other side, we're going to see a junkyard. How do you think that people are going to view that? How are the people going to view Joliet in the future? Speaking of that type of facility, battery recycling, 2 months ago in the state of California, the California congressional delegation just asked the EPA for $750 million to clean up the Vernon battery recycling plant outside of LA. There's 11,000 or 10,000 properties that have been affected by the lead from that battery recycling plant. They operated on a temporary permit for 15 years. When they went out of business 2.5 years ago, they walked away from it, declared bankruptcy, and left that to be footed, the cost to be footed by the taxpayer. Do we want to do that? This needs studied. It needs a lot of studied. It needs tabled. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom Osterberger, 181-23.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Excuse my voice, I'll make it very short. I'm here on behalf of both petitioners for this case. We're seeking to come into the City of Joliet. The City of Joliet has a right to zone this pursuant to their default ordinance. We're not here asking for any entitlements. We're not here asking to do anything on this property. We'd like it to come into the City of Joliet. Last night, we heard a letter from Senator Ventura stating that this is contrary and illegal according to the annexation agreement. I think, unfortunately, she missed the reading of that. That section of the statute says that you cannot annex, or you have to delay the annexation if you are between you pull a petition and the time of a primary, or 60 days before a general election. There also has to be electors on the property. There are no electors on this property. We're following your ordinance exactly. We're not asking to open up the annexation agreement. So the annexation agreement affects the other parcels that you already dealt with. So we're not in violation of that agreement, neither is the city of Joliet. We would ask that you take these into the city of Joliet the way you do in most instances, so that we're part of the community. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt Robbins, 183-23.
Good evening. My name is Matt Robbins, and I'm the supervisor of Jackson Township. I, as well as many others, have been here before and are completely against the North Point project. This property tonight has never been in front of the Planning and Zoning Board of Commission for their recommendation. Therefore, there were no signs to inform our residents of upcoming changes. I was told the city did not have to put up signs because the zoning was not changing. Everything North Point has annexed so far, they have asked the city to change the zoning from residential, but not on this piece of property. Shouldn't that make you stop and ask why not? In the original annexation agreement, it was stated that the property south of the FAA property had contiguity through the FAA property. We argued that it did not have contiguity through to the south without FAA approval, which to my knowledge, they still do not have, but the annexation agreement was still approved. My assumption is that North Point or someone at the city now realizes they do not have contiguity to the south of the FAA property and need this property for contiguity. If that is the case, then the property south of the FAA property shouldn't have ever been a part of the original annexation agreement, or at least should have to be voted on again. This is no more than strip annexing. Maybe not the exact definition, but looking at this, you are annexing a narrow strip to get to another piece of property. North Point is already trying to sell this property. They only bought to strip annex to the property to the south of the FAA. Please take a good look at this. Someone is trying to ram something through right after an election while certain people are still elected, just like they did during the pandemic. Please vote no on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item?
Good evening. I'd like to talk about the North Point annexation of property. It was mentioned last night that the intent of the agreement was, it is the intention of parties in this agreement that upon making such petition to annex and petition to zone any additional parcels, the city, with the cooperation of developers, shall promptly schedule a public hearing. And then I'm hearing it with, somebody's hanging their hat on the fact that there is not a zoning change, it's gonna be agricultural. So therefore, they didn't have to come before the city council to get this done. Well, if any of you really believe that 55 acres, the two parcels, are going to stay zoning, or stay agricultural zoning, I got $100, I'll bet any of you up here, lawyers included, city manager included, city staff included, that want to take me up on it, that they will be back to seek a change in this down the road to get this industrial. It's not going to stay. You don't annex 55 acres. Going to leave it as agriculture. So it's a game plan. You're violating the intent of this, the agreement that was signed, and I think that's wrong. And I think this should be tabled and discussed further with the new council and a new mayor, and get an opportunity to do that. Also, I noticed the Inspector General was removed from the agenda. That was off the board packet. I picked it up earlier, but it's not on the agenda tonight. And as far as the annexation of, or doing the steel mill property or the junkyard property, I think the council was misinformed when they said that the steel mill property was totally contaminated. Nothing but industrial could be there. Because the letter from the EPA states that the 50-acre site over there has been split into two parcels for remediation, north and south of it. And a comprehensive remediation of the one property, 35 acres of the north part of the property in 2017, it was remediated to the EPA's requirements, and they're done with that. The remaining 15 acres of the south parcel has been completed, but it does need remediation, and they're working with the EPA right now to try to figure out what's the best solution to get that done. So that property can be developed for other things, and it should be looked at for developing other things. And again, another junkyard on the east side is not needed. I think there should be better property available, and I'd like to see that put a hold on, or table for tonight too, for further discussion with the new council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move on to appointments. Tonight, the mayor has two separate recommendations for appointments. First, the mayor is recommending the following reappointments to the Firemen's Pension Fund Board of Trustees, Eric Mattson and Scott Matthews. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next, the mayor is recommending the following reappointment to the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners. Rosa Hernandez. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is council committee reports versus Diversity and Community Relations Committee.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. The Diversity and Community Relations met earlier today here in the council chambers. Councilman Guerrero and myself were in attendance. We received two presentations today, one from the Housing Authority of Joliet and the Will Grundy Medical Clinic. The Housing Authority Director, Michael Simonton, shared with us highlights from 2011 to the present, which includes high performance scoring from HUD, ranking system of the Public Housing Assessment System, and Section 8 Management Assessment Program. In 2011, the east side of Joliet had the highest concentration of poverty at 82%. The Housing Authority has lowered that by half in 10 years through the Housing Choice Vouchering System and the D&E concentration efforts. Their operating revenue has increased from 111% in the last 11 years. Last, we received an update on the Spencer Road project. The Housing Authority had offered the owners of the Joliet Country Club $3 million plus $1 million in tax credit, but the negotiations have since been stalled. The next presentation we entertained was the Will Grundy Medical Clinic. Director Sean West shared with us a report from their City of Joliet CDBG and COVID non-congregate shelter project. Overall, Will County Medical Clinic sheltered 114 people, literally homeless, through their non-congregate shelter program. The City of Joliet, the CDBG funding, assisted with 32 out of 114 sheltered. 22 of 60, or 69% of the 32 were referred to long-term case management and referred to permanent housing. Last, the Director West commended Joliet Fire Department and the Police Department for their work. And we tip our hats to you guys as well. Excellent work you did with that. With their work assisting Will Grundy Medical Clinic in their efforts. It takes a village, and now we got to witness that at my last diversity committee meeting today. So, let's build community back. Safe neighborhoods make safe communities make safe cities. And so it takes all of us working together. And I want to thank everybody because this is my last meeting in terms of a regular council meeting for your support and your prayers. And we will still continue to be working with the city and its residents to make sure we get everybody whole. Mayor, that is my report.
Thank you. And Betty, if I can, I appointed you chair of this committee, I believe, 8 years ago. You've done a great job. Thank you for your leadership, and the report tonight kind of reflects that. So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Finance Committee report.
The Finance Committee met today in the council chambers at 5:30. In attendance were Councilman Clement, myself, and Councilwoman Reardon. We've got quite a full agenda, so I'll try to keep this brief. We began looking at our first agenda item, which is an ordinance authorizing an amendment to the annual budget of the 2023 fiscal year. This is in regards to 2022 projects that were not completed. It's a very simple housekeeping item. This just allows us to finish expenditures and projects that were not completed in the last year and to add those into the fiscal year for 2023. No additional expenses there. The money was already allocated, but simply wasn't spent, and so this just allows us to spend that money now. We moved on then, and that's going to be appearing on tonight's agenda. We moved on then to discuss an electric tax audit. And so in the early 2000s, it was discovered that there were 106 parcels of annexed land that were not being billed tax. Over time, going through an audit of that, we have been in communications with ComEd and are negotiating a settlement for $205,000, which would include back taxes and interest. It's been suggested that this is the best deal that we're going to come to an agreement to. So the committee recommended that be brought forward to the full council. Looking at our reports, in our general fund, revenues are up compared to last year, almost $800,000, of which sales tax is up by $387,000. Income tax is coming in at $50,000 and $242,000 in interest. Charges for service are showing that they are down compared to last year, but we are expecting that to be back to normal in these coming months as some receipts are coming in late. Permits and licenses are still trending lower than they were last year. With regards to expenses, we're performing slightly better than we anticipated for our budget. But again, that's expected to be caught up during the summer once projects are initiated and we have more expenses coming in. Our sewer and water fund is tracking slightly better than we were expecting, but this is due largely to the timing of large expenses that we have. And interest is up $600,000, or income from interest is up $600,000 from last year. Kevin Singh has brought to us a new format for our reports, which include early projections for the year. So we're anticipating that the general operating fund will be better than expected in the budget, and our sewer and water operating fund will be at budget. Also included was a quarterly report from our libraries. So of note, we should mention that in the last 3 months across both locations here, downtown Ottawa and our Black Road branch, the library had 58,900 visitors, and they checked out 125,815 items. So kudos to our public libraries. That's quite a big public service that they're providing for the community. So that includes books, audio, other pieces of media, and so we're happy to see that progress be checked in. Joe, Sherry, anything else you'd like to add?
No. Okay.
Then that would conclude my report.
Thank you.
Public Service Committee report.
public service met here at City Hall yesterday at 4:30 PM here in the council chambers. In attendance and on the committee with myself, Councilman Morris and Councilwoman Gavin. Very, very short agenda. One contract, which was the 2023 pavement marking contract. We looked at it and vetted the contract as that should be awarded to Superior Road Striping Incorporated in the amount of $240,000. Then we also looked at a change order for $68,000 on the water main replacement program. That is to accommodate what's happening is out on Draper Road where the state crime lab is. The state is doing a complete revamping of their facility, and that included the water being brought to it because they haven't had a water system coming completely to their property. So they were going to pay for an 8-inch pipe. We're planning for the future. We certainly need a 16-inch pipe, so we're paying the difference essentially. They're paying for everything except for the upgrade to 16-inch. So it's a good improvement for the Draper Avenue area, as well as the state crime lab. And then we had an ordinance and resolution, which is essentially housekeeping. Since we did recommend to approve the road striping contract, we also recommended to approve appropriating motor fuel tax to pay for that. And that's pretty much the items I have. Anything, Terry or Betty, that you want to add?
Just the one correction, I believe it's Woodruff Road.
Oh, Woodruff, I said Draper today, I'm sorry, Woodruff. Yes, on Woodruff, so I won't restate the entire description. Just insert Woodruff where I said Draper, and it will make sense.
Right, it'll all make sense.
That's it. Okay? Nothing? Mayor, that would be the report. Thank you.
Moving on to consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the April 3rd, 2023 council meeting stand approved as recorded. Invoices to be paid. It's recommended these invoices be approved. Council Memo 167-23, position vacancies. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill one police parking enforcement officer and any subsequent vacancies which may occur. Council Memo 168-23, regular payroll for February 10th through February 23rd, 2023, $3,762,280.42. Council Memo 169-23, regular payroll for February 24th through March 9th, 2023, $3,778,694.88. Council Memo 170-23, regular payroll for March 10th through March 23rd, 2023, $3,750,675.22. It's recommended said regular payrolls be approved. Council Memo 171-23, award of contract for the 2023 on-call excavation and underground utility repair program. Council Memo 172-23, emergency purchase of sodium permanganate from Hawkins Water Treatment Group in an amount not to exceed $100,620. Council Memo 173-23, amendment to the service agreement with Flock for additional license plate readers in the amount of $23,600. Council Memo 174-23, CDBG subrecipient agreement with Agape Missions, NFP up to $56,000. Council Memo 175-23, CDBG subrecipient agreement with Agape Mission, NFP up to $36,000. It's recommended Council Memos 171-23 through 175-23 be approved. Is there a motion to approve all said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
I do believe we have a check presentation for Agape at this time. So this is our last check presentation for program year 2022 CDBG-CB. To recap everything, we've done 5 community facilities this year, 1 micro enterprise, and 2 public service contracts this year. This is going to Agape Missions. Agape Mission has been a long-standing community partner within Joliet. They provide HOPWA housing, which is housing for HIV and AIDS patients, homeless housing, and reentry services for housing as well. So today we are presenting them with a $92,000 check. 56 of it will be going towards their housing stock rehab, and the other 36 will be going towards their headquarters building, making it more accessible for everybody else. Good. This is the check.
Kind of by yourself there.
Tell Jill we're missing.
Thank you. Hold on, one more.
One more.
And you walk right in front of it.
Thank you.
I know she did. You tell her I said that too.
Yeah, we got one step talking. Should go in the meeting.
Next, under public hearings, Council Memo 177-23, a public hearing for a resolution approving an annexation agreement for One Industry Avenue. This is a public hearing, so comments are in order at this time.
Would anyone like to comment on this matter? Nope.
Seeing none, let the record show that the hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 177-23, a resolution approving an annexation agreement for One Industry Avenue?
I'd like to make a motion to table it.
I'll second that.
Been motion and seconded to table a Council Memo 177-23, which is a resolution approving an annexation agreement for One Industry Avenue. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
No.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
No.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 177-23 was tabled to, would you like it tabled, and I guess we indefinitely, or to being brought back at a specific date? I guess it should have been confirmed before the vote.
At this stage indefinitely.
Next is Council Memo 178-23, a public hearing for a resolution approving an annexation agreement for annexation of 8.81 acres located at 18204 Northwest Frontage Road. It's recommended this item be tabled to the May 16th, 2023 council meeting.
So moved. Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried. The public hearing and Council Memo 178-23 is tabled to the May 16th, 2023 council meeting.
Jim, I don't think you said yesterday, is there a reason why staff is tabling this? Or wanted to table?
I think it was by the petitioner, actually,
Okay, how about the next one?
which is the ordinances.
Nope, the 620 Sandal and 800 Richards. The recommendation was to table this also?
Yes, I don't have, this is the, this is the explosive that we're waiting for the.
Still waiting on reports.
We're waiting for the
Yeah.
reports to come in on that.
Okay, thank you.
So, that's the reason why.
And the neighborhood meeting.
Right, but we don't have the report.
No, right, I'm saying that's what we're waiting on as well.
Next is Council Memo 179-23, a public hearing for resolution approving the First Amendment to the annexation agreement for 620 Sandal Place and 800 Richard Street. It's recommended this item be tabled to the June 6th council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Council Memo 179-23 is tabled to the June 6th, 2023 council meeting. Moving on, under ordinances, Council Memo 181-23, ordinances associated with One Industry Avenue. This includes an ordinance approving annexation of 28.97 acres at One Industry Avenue, an ordinance approving the classification of One Industry Avenue to I-2 General Industrial Zoning, and an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a salvage yard with the purpose of shredding recyclable materials, including but not limited to automobiles located at One Industry Avenue.
I'd like to make a
Oh,
motion.
point of order, excuse me, point of order. This has been tabled, the last one. Can the council move forward on this or not?
That's correct.
No, you cannot move forward with the vote on this one, because
So-
the public hearing has not been conducted, it was
Right,
tabled.
so it should be taken off the agenda then.
Or you can table it to the same date as the public hearing.
Right.
Oh, but I guess
And-
that was
and-
indefinite, so there's
Yeah,
no date. So it needs to
I
be-
don't know if you can table something indefinitely, because
It
if
would-
it's a vote of no.
It would be a motion to remove from the agenda.
Okay, can we entertain that motion, please?
The motion to remove. So moved.
Second.
It's in motion and seconded to remove Council Memo 181-23, ordinances associated with One Industry Avenue. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Council Memo 181-23 was removed from the agenda. Next is Council Memo 183-23, ordinances approving the annexation of certain parcels, parcel at 18651 West Manhattan Road and parcel south of 18651 West Manhattan Road, connecting to city limits. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
Motion to table.
Hold on a minute.
Second.
Excuse me. It hasn't been recognized. Are there any comments on this before we move forward? Anyone want to speak on it?
Feel that we, the city council, had set standards when we first started to allow North Point to move into the Joliet area, and that we had said that we would bring this back to planning and zoning if necessary, and now we're going against what we told the public we would do. I have no problem believing that legally we could do this, but the perception is not right for me.
And I would like to say something similar.
Hold on a second, please. Just, if we could keep order, we're having a discussion, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
Something similar. I feel that some of the points that were brought up were very valid. I have supported North Point, as you know, all along. And I'm not saying that I won't continue, but I don't think we did it in the right manner. So I would like to see it tabled.
I have some questions, Sabrina or Tom Osterberger, if he's still here. Did Tom leave? Tom, you touched on this earlier, and there was a comment made last night about North Point keeping these properties outside of the prior agreement. Could you elaborate on that?
I think that the two people who are objecting are suggesting that the annexation agreement with the city of North Point requires that anything they have be brought in under that agreement. And that's not simply what that language means. What that language is trying to say is that it's collaborative, that the city and North Point will, any property that is appropriate to be under the agreement, will consider. These two parcels have nothing to do with that agreement. The fact that North Point owns it is irrelevant. We're asking that two parcels be brought in. I understand Mr. Mudron's concern. The city of Joliet has what all municipalities have, and that is a default ordinance. I have the right to go under your own ordinance. New Lenox has one, Frankfurt has one, to come in and say, I'd like to come in, I'd like no special treatment, please give me your default zoning. That's all we're doing here.
So in the future, if they want to change the zoning after they've been annexed, they would have to go through the same process that they would have otherwise gone through tonight?
That is correct. Your ordinance provides that your zoning administrator can choose whatever zoning he or she wishes to have for this property within 90 days. Normally, most municipalities define what the default is. In this case, the Steffes Trust and the North Point affiliate is saying, we'd like to come in, you guys can zone it whatever you would like, and most likely, the city will choose to zone it a residential.
And if they did so, there'd have to be the public hearing process, Sabrina?
That's correct. It'll go before the Plan Commission.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Tom? Thank you.
Thank you.
There was a motion and a second to table. I just want to confirm, is there a specific date to table the item to? I believe Sherry seconded.
seconded.
Betty, you
Yeah,
made the motion.
I made the motion.
Do you have a specific date?
Let's give it 30 days, give the new council time enough to be seated.
Okay, so
Is that-
the first meeting in June?
Would be in June, yeah. give them time enough to go through everything and be seated.
So the first meeting in June is June 6th.
June 6th, so it is.
It's been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 183-23, ordinances approving the annexation of certain parcels connecting to city limits to the June 6, 2023 council meeting. Councilman Clement?
No.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
No.
Councilman Morris?
No.
Councilman Mudrin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Quillman?
No.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Mayor Odekirk?
No.
Vote is 4 ayes, 5 noes. Motion failed. Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 183-23?
I would motion to approve.
Second.
It's in motion and seconded to approve Council Memo 183-23, ordinances approving the annexation of certain parcels connecting to city limits. Councilwoman Gavin?
No.
Councilman Guerrero?
No.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
No.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
No.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Mayor Odekirk?
Aye.
Motion carried 5-4. Next is Council Memo 184-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 16, Section 2-506A3 of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances, amending the duties of the Inspector General. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
I'd like to make a motion to table, please.
Hold on, is there any discussion on this matter? Any comments? Jim, would you explain to the council?
Yes, currently the Inspector General reports to the mayor's office only, or in the, if there's an investigation of the mayor's, the Inspector General report would go to the Corporation Council. This broadens that reporting requirement so that the Inspector General's reports always go to the City Council, not just such an early defined item. So the City Council would get the entirety of the Inspector General reports as opposed to just going to just the mayor or the Corporation Council. So it's a little bit better in terms of everybody being able to see that stuff right when it comes out.
Just a comment.
Yes.
I think it should have been that way all along, unfortunately, but I think this is a good idea for the, just the appearance of transparency. It should always come, everything like this should come to the council, so that's my opinion.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes.
I requested the legislative text that we've heard over and over that we are required by Illinois state statute to have an inspector general. And I was given the the legal description. It's not even an inspector general. It's under what's called an auditing official. Auditing official means an elected, appointed, or hired individual by whatever name in a unit of local government whose duties are similar to, but not limited to, receiving, registering, and investigating complaints and information concerning misconduct, inefficiencies, and waste within the unit of local government, investigating the performance of officials, employees, functions, and programs, and promoting economy, efficiency, effectiveness, and integrity in the administration of programs and operations of the municipality. If a unit of local government does not have an auditing official, the auditing official shall be the state's attorney of Will County, which is of the county we are in which the unit of government is located. For this reason, I feel like we've spent a lot of money hiring somebody that we never had to hire in the first place, and we could have been going to the Will County State's Attorney for this type of work that was necessary.
Ma'am?
Yes.
We're not going to quibble over words. Auditor, I was well aware it was called an auditor or inspector general, means the same thing. Most important thing it does is anti-corruption. So, Councilwoman, Raritan, I would ask you, you're looking to get rid of them so we can have rampant corruption without oversight?
No, I'm looking to use the appropriate jurisdiction that would be the Will County State's Attorney.
No,
We
that
don't
was-
need to have.
I have the floor.
Well, you're
I
asking a
have the
question.
floor.
Yes, question.
You asked me.
You asked her a question.
What you're talking about is a fallback if people can't do their job. If the members of any sitting city council can't actually do what's required of them, they give you a fallback, a safety net. Well, you're too lazy, you're too stupid to do it. Well, let the state's attorney step in because we don't want corruption. We are smart enough up here to have our own inspector general. You can refer to him as the auditor because yes, the state does call it that.
We were told that we were required by Illinois state law to have this, and we have never been required to
Yes.
have it.
You're quibbling over the name, auditor versus inspector general.
We're not required to have the auditor either.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
There was a motion to table the item. Do you have a specific date for that?
The end of May is fine.
The second meeting in May would be May 16th. There is a motion to table to the May 16th meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to table Council Memo 184-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 16, Section 2-506A3 of the City of Joliet Code of Ordinances, amending the duties of the Inspector General to the May 16th, 2023 council meeting. Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
I'm 100% for transparency and anti-corruption, so I have to vote no.
Councilman Morris?
No.
Councilman Mudrin?
Yes.
Councilwoman Coleman?
I think it's a good thing. No.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
No.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Mayor Odekirk?
No.
Motion failed, 4 ayes, 5 noes. Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 184-23?
Before we do, I'll make a comment. You know, Councilwoman Reardon, you read the statute correctly, but I can't believe that you would suggest that the current state's attorney, who's named in an active investigation, is not cooperating with the Inspector General, who has filed suit to try to stop this investigation that he's now named in, that's the person you want to have investigative authority. It doesn't make any sense. So I think, I support the city manager's recommendations, and I think this is a good thing going forward. I established the Inspector General position when I became mayor. We've seen the fruits of it. You've seen corruption from people right on this council who are using their position to line their pockets with taxpayer money at the Rialto, at the Park District, at the museum. We absolutely need this going forward. And quite frankly, Councilman Mudrin, you should be recusing yourself from these votes because you are directly involved in an ongoing investigation. Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 184-23?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye?
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
No.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
No.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
No, this is taxpayer dollars we're spending, and we must be more frugal about how we do that. These are not our dollars. These are your dollars.
Councilman Guerrero?
Because this amendment is just to provide the reports to the full council, and still includes provisions for which, if the ordinance itself were found to be invalid, we have a legal reading at some later point in time which determines that it is unnecessary or invalid, then that would nullify the entire ordinance. But because this is just an amendment to bring the report to the council, I will vote yes.
Motion carried 5-3. Council Memo 185-23, ordinances associated with the annexation of 8.81 acres located at 18204 Northwest Frontage Road and the development of the Imperial Site LLC subdivision. It's recommended this item be tabled to the May 16th council meeting.
Again, Jim, could you give a reason for this recommendation?
This allows us additional time to look at some of the public utility and drainage easements, fire hydrant coverage for the subject property. So the petitioner intends to work with city staff to address these items before the May 16th meeting. So we just want to make sure that they have those things in order before we bring it to the council at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second.
It's been motion and seconded to table Council Memo 185-23 to the May 16th council meeting. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 186-23, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a temporary staffing agency located at 235 Collins Street. It's recommended that ordinance be adopted.
Your Honor,
Yes?
just one quick question. We had a moratorium on staffing agencies at one time. Was that ever lifted, or where are we on that?
I don't believe it was. Jim, could you address that?
I do not, but,
It may have predated you, that moratorium.
right, I believe so. And this did not get the full recommendation of the zoning board of appeals. So it failed 4-3 at zoning. So you would need additional votes here at this.
I'll move to table.
No, that's correct. No, incorrect.
That's actually, inaccurate. There was a motion to deny recommendation, which failed, and then there was no subsequent motion to approve recommendation, so it actually is coming before you without a recommendation.
Okay.
So it only needs a simple majority. vote.
Okay.
Thank you.
I made the motion table.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And is there a specific date that you would like the item tabled to? Motion.
Oh, let's do the second meeting in May then.
And can we have clarity on the moratorium at that time, Jim?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
It's been motion and seconded to table Council Memo 186-23, an ordinance approving a
Krista?
special.
Sorry.
Question. Now, the moratorium part, it has to come back to the council for a vote, correct? To lift it?
This would be outside of the moratorium. I'll need to do a little bit of
Since it's
research
under
on
the
that.
moratorium, that's why I'm tabling it, so
Right.
we'd have to think that we'd have to rescind the moratorium before we can even vote on that. So we need some advice here and some history.
I think once we determine what the history and how the moratorium was put into place, then we'll
Right.
know how to undo
Right.
it.
Right, so
If
that's
that's the council's
that's my
desire.
question. So maybe we should wait till June on the next agenda
To get it.
to give time.
Okay.
Is that June 6th?
June 6th.
Yes.
D-Day.
So it's been motion and seconded to table Council Memo 186-23 to the June 6th, 2023 council meeting. And Council Memo 186-23 is an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a temporary staffing agency located at 235 Collins Street. Councilman Mudrin?
This is the vote to table it, though.
Correct.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
No.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
No.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 186-23 is tabled to the June 6th council meeting. Council Memo 187-23, an ordinance approving a preliminary planned unit development of Timber Point Unit 2 subdivision. It's recommended that ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Jim, can you clarify the exact location for the public?
We do have a representative here as well, if there's any questions.
This is in the existing Timber Point subdivision at the southeast corner.
That's right.
Of McDonough and the southeast frontage road. And this is where the dog park was supposed to go.
Was gonna go.
The Joliet Park District did not want the dog park, so the developer is looking to add 2 apartment buildings in that location, continuation of the original development. Because the Joliet Park District did not want the dog park.
So they made a donation in kind to the Park District instead, in dollars. Is that correct, sir?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
They're doing fee in lieu of that park donation.
Call them apartment buildings. Are they condos or apartment buildings?
They're rental townhouses, if you.
Okay. So they're well below our density ordinance?
They're a little bit above, 6 units per acre, just a little bit above. Like at 7 units per acre, rather than 6 units per acre.
Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 187-23, an ordinance approving a preliminary plan unit development of Timber Point Unit 2 subdivision?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman?
No.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
No.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2. Council Memo 188-23, an ordinance authorizing an amendment to the annual budget of the City of Joliet for the 2023 fiscal year, 2022 projects completed in 2023.
So moved.
Second. Oh, is there a presentation?
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 189-23, an ordinance approving a water supply agreement with the City of Chicago and agreements for easements and rights of access with the City of Chicago and the Chicago Park District for the placement of the Chicago Connection facilities at the Southwest Pumping Station and Durkin Park sites, and payments and other actions for the implementation of the agreement. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
If I may, Krista, I want to thank Allison, our staff, the different agencies that we've hired to work with, the different communities that have joined us in this, and our partners in the city of Chicago. This is a monumental agreement for the city of Joliet, locking in water rates for 100 years. And of course, congratulations to the council who brought this in, and the environmental committee who volunteered many, many hours to get us to this point. So do want to thank everyone involved in that.
Been motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 189-23. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 190-23, an ordinance approving a street name change for a portion of South Chicago Street to Eastern Avenue. It's recommended that ordinance be adopted.
Yes.
Yeah, I know we've talked about this a couple times, and the residents still pretty much feel the same way. They would like the street to remain Chicago Street. So I also talked to Chief Carey as well as Chief Evans to make sure, because there was some concern by city staff that our first responders would not be able to find their residents, but they assured me that that should not be an issue, that they, and as well as the residents, they have called the ambulance before, and they got there in really, good timing, so they just would prefer to leave it as it is. So I would make a motion to deny the street name change.
A second.
It's been motioned and seconded to deny the street name change for, from Chicago Street to Eastern Avenue. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 190-23 was denied. Moving on, under resolutions, Council Memo 192-23, a resolution adopting CDBG CV agreement, $42,000 for Greater Joliet YMCA. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 193-23, a resolution adopting CDBG CV agreement, $88,000 Greater Joliet YMCA. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 194-23, a resolution adopting program year 2021 agreement, $25,000 Greater Joliet YMCA. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 195-23, a resolution authorizing the acquisition of right-of-way for the Olympic Boulevard Improvement Project, parcel 0008, 0009, 0010, 0015, 0019, 0022, and 0023. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 196-23, a resolution authorizing the execution of an extension of the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Joliet, the Illinois Department of Corrections, and the Illinois Department of Central Management Services regarding the Joliet Correctional Center. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
No.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-1. Council Memo 197-23, a resolution approving a transit shelter agreement between the City of Joliet and PACE, agreement regarding a PACE bus shelter at St. Joseph's Medical Center. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 198-23, a resolution approving and authorizing execution of a lease agreement with the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council, property located at 30 North Bluff Street. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
I have nothing to report, but I'd certainly like to say I want to express my gratitude for having been able to serve with Councilman Gavin, Councilman Morris, and certainly the mayor, and giving me this opportunity to work for this awesome city. So thank you.
Next is new business not for final action or recommendation.
Joe, Betty,
Aye.
Caesar?
Yes, just a couple things. So I'm sure we're all well aware of the old courthouse downtown, and I know there's been some discussion about either demolishing it or repurposing the building. It's brought to my attention that there are a number of developers with multi-million-dollar proposals for private investment to redevelop it. I think it's at minimum an intriguing idea, and I'd be happy to have someone come in and give a presentation to the council. I don't know if the rest of the council is open to the idea of at least having that information brought to us, but I think it'd be something worth considering, especially in regards to redevelopment of downtown as a whole. Certainly that's a large property there, and no plan for redeveloping downtown would be complete without taking that into consideration. Second, I just wanted to mention briefly that Friday, the City of Joliet's Facebook page made a small post And as a small mistake, listed both photos in Spanish rather than one in English and one in Spanish. I saw the post go up right away, submitted a message advising them to correct the mistake. It was corrected in less than an hour. And in that short time, there was quite a stir in the comments. A lot of people felt very strongly about language accessibility now that the post was not available in English. The irony certainly was not lost on me, and so I would like to introduce as an order of new business that if anybody feels so strongly to say, there was one comment that suggested that we include all communications in German and Polish and Croatian, the languages of the people who have built the city. I would say that there are many people who have built the city and continue to build the city. So if you feel that all communications should be also released in German and Polish, I would say, why stop there? Why not also include them in Arabic and Hindi and Viet and Tagalog? And if so, if you feel so strongly inclined that all communications from the city of Joliet should be available in the languages of the people that have built the city, I say extend them to all of those languages and not just a select few.
See, if I can respond to your first comment about the courthouse, I could probably shed a little light. Obviously, Will County owns the building. The city doesn't have any say in that. And Will County voted several years ago to tear down the building, and Governor Pritzker allocated $1 million for Will County to tear down the building, but they've never moved forward. So going back probably about 7 or 8 years ago, right after I was elected, we had ongoing meetings and conversation with Larry Walsh, who was the county executive, as well as Republicans and Democrats. And the city worked very well with Larry Walsh and Nick Palmer and the Republicans and Democrats in acquiring the right-of-way to open up Chicago Street and acquiring the property where the State Attorney's Office was located in for the City Center Square, which is coming around. There was a trade back and forth. We partnered with the county to build a new courthouse. When the Republicans were going to move the county courthouse outside of downtown Joliet, they had a site selected near I-355 where Silver Cross Hospital is at. So there was a time when we had that type of communication. We even had meetings, I don't know if anyone here was part of them, high-level meetings with county executives, again, both Democrats and county board officials, about repurposing the property at Chicago and Jefferson, where the courthouse is, and possibly building, similar to what Chicago has, a county building and a city building all in the same location. So those conversations were happening. Unfortunately, with the new county executive, she never once has called me. Jim, has she ever talked to you about her plans for the county courthouse?
No, we did open a dialogue in terms of trying to get that back off the ground, in terms of having a facility there that would be county and city. There is a covenant that runs with the land that says that land must be used for governmental purposes only. Right. So you cannot have you can't have a private entity investing in that unless it's a government private. I just can't see it from there. But the covenant does say that it has to be used for governmental purposes only.
So yeah, it's certainly, we've done good work with the county. Certainly, under my administration, we've been able to do it. I don't know why we've hit such a log jam on this property, and I don't know what their plans are. They haven't shared them, I don't believe, with the group that's fighting for the courthouse, and they haven't shared them with the city either.
Yeah, I haven't heard any plans, but certainly any plan for redeveloping downtown, needs to take that into consideration. So
you would think that we would be part of the conversation. I agree. Thank you. Larry?
Yes. I'm going to ask the city manager, city attorney, for the benefit of the entire council on May 2nd, please have the Inspector General here to update us on the FBI investigation of his report, on the U.S. Department of Justice investigation, and then, of course, for those that are interested, I guess the Illinois Attorney General. But once you make it to the Department of Justice, the FBI, there's some pretty serious charges being considered. And I'm sure there's not a person up here that wants to sweep this under the rug. They want to see this investigation come to fruition. They want to see not just the Illinois State Police, but the FBI and the Department of Justice make a determination from their viewpoint, in addition to what the Illinois State Police have said, notwithstanding what the Inspector General said, who's a decorated retired member of the military, I believe. And currently, I think he's still with the JAG, isn't he? He's head of a certain district of JAG. He's got a lot of integrity. Yeah, so I'm sure nobody up here is gonna go down the road of corruption and try to kill this investigation, because this is a felony investigation. Please bring him in on May 2nd to give us an update. And I don't care whether it's public or whether you guys wanna do it in executive session. I'll vote public. But one way or the other, we need to be brought up to this, because, these are serious charges that appear to be very, very true. And, when the FBI, starts looking at it, they don't mess around. They don't come away usually losers. So for the sake of transparency and the rule of law, let's continue with this, because we haven't had an update in about a month. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pat, Jan?
Actually, I do. I discussed this with council, Ms. Sabrina. And lately, there's been a influx of people selling single-family homes that were previously single-family rentals. And if you look in the paper, the LLC is selling this house went to this and this. But what I'm bringing up here tonight is what's happening is at the closings, there's not full disclosure of the things that needed to be fixed in that house, which were inspected. And there was a list that, there's roof was leaking, there wasn't egress and egress, there was basement, bedrooms, so on and so forth. And what's happening at the closings, the sellers are at the last minute, at the last hour, saying, oh, here's a list of things that need to be done. And what's happening is some of the people that are purchasing these homes have already either sold their home or told their apartment people that they're moving out. And if they don't close that day, then they're stuck. They have nowhere to go. So my suggestion is we're looking into this, and it has to come to legislative and land use, and this is to protect every person that wants to purchase a home in the city of Joliet, because I believe we can do this because we're home rule. They have to be forefront or be very forward, like 2 weeks before a purchaser is buying the home from the seller. That seller has to provide violations that need to be done in that house, or that's obviously why they're selling it. It's a rental, and they didn't sell it, they didn't fix it for years, and that's why they're dumping it. But these homeowners are blindly going in here, and then they're stuck at the last minute. So I would like somehow this ordinance to come to fruition, and at least the seller has to notify the buyer if it had been inspected for 2 weeks ahead of time. So anyway, that's my new thing. And I hope that we can do it to protect our buyers that want to buy houses in Joliet and not get disappointed and say, oh, there was nothing to protect them, that they're stuck at the last minute. So,
Is there staff looking into this right now?
yeah, Sabrina was going to.
We are, the legal department's looking into the, our options and what we can do with respect to enacting an ordinance, which we'll bring in front of legislative committee.
Yeah, it has to come to committee, but I wanted to put that out there so people that are purchasing homes, be sure and ask. And even the attorney for the seller was apparently really, really upset and ended up giving the buyer some money out of his own pocket, which is what I was told. So that's pretty good on the attorney part, but he didn't know his client was lying to him. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Sherry?
No.
Nothing.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak on our public comments?
Mayor, council, good evening, everyone. I just want to take a time out to recognize our councilwoman, Betty Gavin. Not many times, flowers are given when they're due. I love you. I've seen personally throughout the years of the work and dedication that you put into District 4 and the Forest Park. Many conversations you and I had privately and will be held only between us forever. As your son, who's found a voice through you, I thank you. The community thank you. I think everyone can say that you're leading the community much better than you found it. And so, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for your commitment, your tireless effort, the attacks, the laughs, and I'm sure you're not done. You're not done. God is not done with you yet. And so, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Jerry, congratulations. Pat, congratulations. I'll miss someone else. Mayor, you and I have not always agreed, but I respect you.
Thank you.
I honestly, I can look you in the eye and tell you I respect you. You know, I thank you for appointing me to commissioner. A couple other boards you appointed me to. Like I said, we've not always agreed, but one thing about it, I've always respected you.
I appreciate it, thank you.
And so as you walk away from this, I wish you and your family nothing but the best in your future, whatever you decide to do. And if you ever see you out, you can buy the beer.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor, Council, Julia, Alexander, and including you. You can look around at including you, and we are here to say thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you up here, but especially thank you to you, Mr. Mayor. Including you is proud to announce that for our 2022 recipients, we were able to give away $10,000 this year. And as you know, we have grown since our inception. We have grown. I think the first monetary amount we gave away was somewhere in the realm of $4,000. So we come from $4,000 to $10,000 in 5 years. I am so proud of us. Look around, I am proud of everyone here. But we are here to say to you, Mr. Mayor, including you stands before you today to say thank you. Thank you because you saw with us a gap in the inclusion and diversity in our city center, and you took action to make a change. Thank you. Thank you because you opened doors for including you to move forward with our mission and purpose and never wavered. Thank you because you and Rebecca have supported including you from the very beginning, and you never wavered on that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, because of the many times, including you took you away from your family, we had you on stage playing the drums for us. And I know that your family probably needed you most, if anyone knows some of the things that your family's been going through. Because you set forth a path for including you to succeed. And now it's up to us to finish that mission that you have set forth for us. Because of your guidance, your leadership, your involvement, that means a great deal to including you. Mr. Mayor, you have shown us that we are a vital and important part of this city. And for that, we say thank you. Now, some of the examples, and I will just name a few. Some of the examples are, you have opened doors for us. You have opened doors. I'm sorry. Okay, let me slow down. Okay. Okay, so some of the examples, Mr. Mayor, are the friends and family are reunited each year in our city center through our festival. These are some of the things that come out of what you have allowed us to do. There are business deals that happen during the festival. The strengthening of families and friends that go on down there, the entrepreneurship, the volunteer involvement and commitment. As a matter of fact, all of you that were volunteers for including you are now members. Well, over the last year, please raise your hands for all of you. These are all people that volunteered, and they saw the importance of being servants, and they are here now to help us serve. Setting forth the example for a friendly and safe environment. Once again, including you can say that the environment down there that we have is a friendly and safe environment. Mr. Mayor, because of your support, including you, were able to further assist the needs of families in Will County and Joliet, helping first home ownership buyers through working with some of the city center banks as well as with some of the local realtors, reaching out to the young adults with trauma, with the trauma advocacy organization, to reach out to them because we know that there's been a lot of school shootings, around the country. But we look at these children and who's reaching out to them, who's giving them the platform to release their stress and give them the opportunity to share their words. So those are some of the things, to have dialogue and relief, and actually to have resources for traumatization in school shootings, assisting seniors in filling out paperwork for housing and other needs. And so these are just some of the things that, including you, have done. It's just not a festival. We are actually trying to serve the community, and with your leadership and what you have given to including you, we can say that we have gone over and beyond. And so we thank you, Mr. Mayor, for always being there and always giving your support to including you, and not only you, but we thank our councilmen, my councilman, District 5, and the many other of you that have supported us as well. So we just want to say thank you. Now, since we have waited like 9 hours to get up here, no, but we do have a couple of other things for you. Joe Clement, what are you laughing about? It's so funny.
You were here a long time.
Okay, we do have a couple of other things for you. At this point, Mr. Mayor, Patricia Mead is going to, if you could step down here, Patricia Mead is going to present you with something. Is Jamie still in here? Is Times Weekly still in here?
No, I think she just left. I think she just left.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have the esteemed honor of being able to present you with this award from including you. The award states is an appreciation award. It's presented to Joliet's Mayor, Bob Odenkirk, for your unwavering support of Including You Incorporated and your vision to advance the areas of inclusion and diversity for the city of Joliet. The members of Including You would like to say thank you for working with us in fulfilling our mission and our purpose of Ottawa and the city of Joliet to serve. I present you with this award on behalf of Including You on this day of April 18, 2023 for our president, Julia Alexander, and the members of Including You Incorporated.
Thank you very much.
Get your drumsticks ready. Okay, if you could stay here, Mr. Mayor. I don't know, I've never seen this done with you before, but I've seen you all give many of them proclamations. Am I allowed to give you proclamations? Okay, on behalf of Including You, whereas Mayor Bob Odenkirk of the city of Joliet has celebrated 6 years of support to Including You, Inc., a 501c3 charitable organization providing services to the citizens of the Will Joliet communities. Whereas Mayor Odenkirk has given his consent to move forward with Including You, Inc., charitable non-for-profit organization in March of 2016. Whereas Mayor Odenkirk has been very instrumental in providing the necessary tools needed to move Including You, Inc. forward. Whereas Mayor Odenkirk believes that the city should reflect its citizenship in diversity, inclusiveness, and opportunities. Whereas Whereas Mayor Odekirk has been dedicated and continue supporting the works and missions of Including You Inc. to empower, to inspire, and educate. Whereas Including You Inc. believes that the mayor of the city of Joliet and Including You Inc. organization's missions and purposes are in perfect alignment. Therefore, I, Julie Alexander, President of Including You, on behalf of the Board of Directors and its members, hereby commend and congratulate Joliet's Mayor, Robert Odekirk, on seeing the vision of Including You and continuing his support and efforts for the past 6 years and beyond, 6 and beyond years of bringing about a more inclusive and diverse city. So we honor you with this proclamation. Okay, Joe, can I have a few more minutes here?
As long as you
Okay,
want.
I want to say, Christian, it's at the end, I can get this right? No. I want to say, Betty Gavin, thank you so much. Thank you for when Including You got started. You have always had nothing but encouraging words to say to me. You knew what the road would be like, but you've always encouraged me. It is not easy, but when you're doing it for your heart, it's worth it. And I will fight any mountain, I will climb any hill to make sure that this work is done.
Good.
Okay, and I want to thank you, Pat Mudrin, for being a supporter, and Jan Quillman for being a supporter, and of course my councilman Terry Morris for being a supporter, and Larry Hug, and Joe Clement, and Sharon, I'm going to get to you so you could be a supporter this year. But I want to thank each and every one of you, and Jim Caparelli, I want to thank you for that generous sponsorship that you gave, and I'm going to knock on your door again as well. Okay, so once again, thank you all, including you guys, including you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Julia, what's the date this year?
Could we do a picture with the
Yes.
proclamation in your mayor?
Sure.
What's the date?
Oh, it's July 29th.
Okay.
In our city center.
It's my son's birthday. We
Is
picked a
it?
great day.
Well, you know what? Let's have a party for him. Bring him on down.
Well, I wish I could, darling, but
Be difficult.
Come on, Tim. The mayor's not here. You're the mayor.
Left. Come on, Dan, get in the middle here. Come on, shit.
No, I'm fine. Ready? Yes. Do you have a song that's here? Okay. One more. And another.
Oh, come on.
All right.
Julia.
Hey,
Julia.
who's a bike? All right, Danny.
Where do you go to?
We don't want to be in the picture. We don't want to make people look bad.
Yeah, really.
Well, that's true. Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments? Oh, wow.
I gotta blame.
Well, good evening, y'all. Mayor, congratulations on your proclamations. I think disappointed you lost. Terry, I'm so sorry. I mean, I'm sorry about the elections, you know? Sometimes I want to work with you. Betty, you darling, you know, I always have my prayers with you, and your prayers meant so much to me, you know, you lifted me up. You know how depressed I've been, you know, and you have lifted me with your blessings, and I can't thank you enough, you know. I find it a little ironic here though tonight, you know, when you're talking about trees with the arbor.
trees, like you said, the arbor thing are just so important. We need to preserve the trees, which means with all these warehouses being developed, all the trees I think I see in my neighborhood that have been torn down. I can now see Route 6 from the old Patterson Road or Center Point. I can see Route 6 all the way down there. I can see now from my house down here to my road, I can see I-80 in that. You know, because of all the trees that's been taken down for these warehouses. But yet you vote these warehouses in and they vote to take all these trees out, which, you know, you say tonight is so important with the trees. Well then, stop voting things in that keep taking our trees away. That needs to stay. You know, if people look at the land and they see a plot of land that they want and there's trees on it, the trees should have to stay. If they want an open land where they got no trees, well, then go somewhere else and find that land. But we need to leave the trees. The trees have been here for hundreds of years, have been ripped down, deforested for building these warehouses. And the air quality, and needless to say, the weather has gotten more and more violent because of the fact of global warming, because of removal of trees and removal of farm fields too produce oxygen. And next thing is about the safety. Safety about motorcycles and that. You talk about safety for everybody. Well, I don't know how you could let my road be turned into a 2-lane, no truck road into a dangerous 4-lane highway to where I am still going around and fighting about getting my mail delivered to me safely. I went on the road today, and you know, even if the mailbox is on my side of the road, I still gotta stand in the road to get my mail. It's so dangerous, and you guys vote this stuff in. So I don't know how you guys could sit there and vote for, you know, speak about safety somebody else and everything, but then other people forget us because I don't live in Joliet. I mean, safety involves everybody, you know, everywhere. And make it a hilly road where residents live into a 4-lane highway to get that hobo bridge is just so dangerous. And me and the post office are still trying to find a way to where we can be safe. But we both agree there's only one safe way, is to have no trucks on that road. And lastly, about the quality of life. You know, we speak about quality of life. It is so overlooked with all this development. You know, everybody speaks about this development and how it's been so great. Well, you know, in my point of view, my quality of life, everything has been taken away from me. Every bit of it has been taken away. And I've talked to Betty how many times on it because I have just been, without your words, Betty, without your prayers, I wouldn't be here on this planet, to tell you the truth. And I'm still trying to find what is my quality of life, what is my purpose. I talked to psycho doctor. Psycho doctor says you need a purpose in life, you need to have a purpose of living, you gotta find your goal. Well, I told the psycho doctor, my goals has been taken away from me with all this development put in front of around my house. Now my road is a dangerous 4-lane highway. Now I'm trying to drastically find out my road. And then lastly, one last thing is Joliet Police, congratulations, get them drag racers and continue to get them drag racers.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You know, I believe that you give honor where honor is due. And I definitely want to give honor to this council and this administration for how you have led the city and the advancements that you have made in the city and the being able to come together. You know, there's a scripture that says that when the people are one, nothing that they've imagined shall be impossible unto them. At the same time, a house divided or a city divided cannot stand. And so I believe that all authority comes from God. And that authority, we have been determined and commanded to honor the authority that God has set before us. And so with saying that, Betty, I want to thank you. When we were pulling together Arise Community Development Center, you were right there with our young people, giving us tickets to the baseball field. I'll never forget that. Mayor Odekirk, you were there. Terry, you were always there when we were pulling together things for our community, for the young people. Also, I wrote down some things because I didn't want to forget. The sacrifice and the dedication. Mayor Odekirk, I remember when you first ran for office, and there was a coalition of pastors that came together, and we interviewed you as well as the other incumbent. And we decided that you would be the best person to lead this city, and you have done that. And for that, I'm so thankful and so appreciative. Also, I remember when there was a string of murders that was taking place in our city. There was about 14 murders that was happening back to back. And Pastor Posley and myself pulled together some people, and we decided that enough was enough. We began to walk every sector of the city, walking, praying, singing, praising. You were right there in the front with us. For that, I will never forget, and I appreciate it so much. The call to worship, the citywide prayer, the National Day of Prayer is what I'm trying to say. You were always right there for National Day of Prayer. The sacrifices that you've made for your family and the things that you've gone through, I understand firsthand what it's like to run for public office, the scrutiny that you come up under, the mudslinging, all of that. You put yourself out there, you put your family out there, you put your whole life in the limelight to represent the people who many times can't even appreciate what you're representing. And so I just wanted to take the time again to thank you. You appointed me to the Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. I was able to go in and give back to a community in which I grew up in, and being able to see some change and things taking place there that could have not taken place had it not been my part in being able to see that happen. And so again, I just want to thank you, thank this whole council, because you all, in spite of everything else that has transpired, you guys have rocked and you've made our city look good. And for that, I'm grateful and I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Karen Ward. First, I want to say thank you to every council member and our great mayor. Good evening, Mayor Odekirk, City Council members and City Manager, as well as city staff and Joliet citizens. Tonight, as I thought over the past week of what to say, I chose to focus on your legacy of hope, kindness, prosperity, integrity, and pride in Joliet. Thank you to our mayor, council, and your administration for all of these things and more that you have brought to the city of Joliet. A legacy of great accomplishments, a legacy of hope, a legacy of peace, a legacy of kindness, a legacy of inclusivity, a legacy of improvements, a legacy of acknowledgements nationally and worldwide. As a great tourist destination, place of safety, etc. As you walk down the streets, as I have seen many of you do, especially our great mayor, it has shown your caring and compassionate nature to make sure everyone is seen and heard and cared about. This has truly been the case over the past 8 years. People have been seen and heard, and I thank you. Every step that has been taken has been positive towards the future of our great city. As my great-grandfather, after he left office of mayor, would often walk over the bridge, our historic bridges, and check on every part of the city. You don't need to be in office to be a public servant. So I close with a quote. Great leaders don't set out to be a leader, they set out to make a difference. It's never about the role, always about to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak?
First, I'd like to thank Betty for the many years of service to District 4 residents. We've certainly had our ups and downs too.
Yeah.
And a good marriage works that way. It's never always going to agree, but thank you for your service. And thank you, Chris, for pointing out to me that my glasses are no good, that the Inspector General was on the memo tonight. I just want to point out that this issue of being a state statute or not. Ferguson versus Patton, 2013 Supreme Court, Illinois Supreme Court ruling was talking about the city Inspector General for Chicago and stuff, but in that ruling, it said the office of the Inspector General is a creature of municipal ordinance, not state statute, and has no legal status apart from the city. So it's not state statute. And also, my opinion is it wasn't and not intended ever to be used as a tool, a political tool, 2 months before an election. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, next is mayor and council comments.
Yeah, Councilwoman Gavin and Councilman Morris, I just want to take this opportunity. It's been a pleasure and honor working with you guys over the last 2 years, and I've known you longer when I was an employee with the city of Joliet. And I just want to wish you the very best in your future endeavors. And I appreciate very much working with you guys. So,
thank you, Joe.
And Mr. Mayor, I just want to say thank you for serving this city. There's a laundry list of accomplishments and visions that you had, and we look forward to seeing some that have already taken place and some that are going to be happening here in the future. One thing that sticks out is everywhere that I went in the city, people always said that they saw you. You came to almost every event. I mean, you were there for every ribbon cutting, and so on. I just want to say thank you for your service, and I appreciate it very much. And to the new mayor and council, I look very much working with each and every one of you. And Mr. Mayor, we're going to carry the torch, and we're all going to work together and keep the city moving forward. So, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Betty?
Boy, I tell you, first let me direct my comment to my fantastic colleagues. You guys are amazing. Thank you for your help, your support, and your goals for this city. Mr. Mayor, we rocked a long time, and I just want to thank you for your service, sir. I believe that you do have a servant's heart. You have shown that, and I thank you for that. I thank you. To the city staff, you guys are amazing. You rock. Because when we need something, you're going to go in and you're going to dig down and dig deep and bring it back to us. And if we don't like it, we send you back. And you do it all over again with no fuss, no muss. So I want to thank you all for that. My fire department, my police department, you guys rock, I tell you. I am so privileged, and I do not take this for granted because you put your butts on the line every day for us in this city, and I certainly appreciate it. When I walk down the street or get in my car and move out, I'm good. I'm good because I know I've got a force of you guys behind us and everybody that works with you. So thank you. I don't know about Tony Lakota, but anyway, we'll talk about him at a later time, Chief. But the residents of this city, thank you so much for your support and your well wishes. I will have a little bit more time on my hand, Doug, so I'm coming back there to join your group, your organizations. I peel off a piece, I'm gonna load it up with something else when it comes to this city. So I'll be talking with you, Doug. Oh man, it's been an amazing ride. amazing ride, and all I can say is to God be the glory for giving me such an opportunity to live in a city, this great city, and to serve the residents of this city. God bless. You're gonna see me around. They'll probably kick me out. I know Joe will, and Tony ain't gonna let me in either, but I'll be outside. But anyway, thanks everybody. Labor, all of you guys who make this city great. This leadership team that you see here, even though we have our good times, we had our bad times, but we know how to come together when it makes this city great. And so I thank you for that, and God bless you. God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Caesar?
We still have May 2nd here, and you'll be with us for a little bit longer.
For a
so,
little time.
yeah,
If they let me in, Tony may not let me in the door.
I'll turn sentimental then. I'll save it for then.
Okay.
Larry?
Yeah, it's been a long enough night. We do have, I think people are forgetting, we do have a meeting on May 1st when people will step down, and I'll reserve my comments for those that have truly worked hard with me in the last 12 years to make the city better and to stamp out the corruption that was persistent prior.
Thank you. Terry?
Yeah, I know the night has turned long and well spent. But I don't want to take up too much time as I was just stating. But I just want to thank everybody, especially my colleagues, the mayor. We've been 12 years. It's been a while. That's a while for me, to really get into this thing. And I just thank the staff, as has been said, and all the employees. They just been wonderful. Past council members, and again, I don't want to get into calling names, but all of them, and each and every one of you all that have sat here, it's just been great. It's just been an honor. I met a lot of wonderful people over the 12 years, and I'm not going over. I don't make it sound like this is my funeral or something.
Well, you're good at that.
Right, exactly. And it's like I heard that at a funeral or something. But listen, it's really been good, and I know, as Larry said, the night has been long already. So again, just in case someone don't hear again, I just want to thank everyone, and it's been truly an honor. The only concern I have is who's gonna deal with Larry when I'm gone. That's
Can't be done. It can't be done.
Right, but thank you all.
Like Caesar, I'll save mine until May, but in the meantime, thanks everyone on the council that has worked together here.
Yeah.
We're just one big happy family. And in all families, you argue, you yell at each other, and you go back at each other, but in the end, you all come together. So I will save my other comments for the big time, the big day.
I'll save mine too, Betty. You know how I feel. I love you, and anytime I'm around you, I just feel your energy. So I'll have comments for everybody. Terry, I always say about you, what a gentleman.
Yes,
Always.
yes, true gentleman.
I also will save my comments, so thank you to all of the nice wishes tonight that we heard, and I think we're done.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
No executive session.
So moved.
Motion second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Being adjourned.
We'll be right back.